Morning. Hope you're all doing good. And I'm sure you've all done your homework because we've learnt a lesson that if we do our homework, then only we do good in studies, right? So, the homework which I had given you was the picture composition. Based on that picture composition, we are today going to take up a concept of language where we'll be seeing how we construct a sentence and what is the structure of a sentence. So, we are going to take up that today. So, let's see the basic parts of a sentence. A sentence has a subject, verb plus object. Subject is the person or a thing doing something in the sentence. The verb is a word that expresses action in the sentence, or you can say a doing word. In other words, it's a doing word. Then comes the object. Object is the person or the thing that receives the action described in the sentence, and it stands after the verb. Now that we know the sentence structure, let's see the word order. In English, the word order is very important. So we are going to learn the basic word order in English. Here, first comes the subject, then the verb, and then the object. So here we have examples of the correct use of subject, verb, and object in a sentence. Like the first example is, she studies English. She is a subject, studies is a verb, and English is an object. The next sentence we'll take up, we'll see that Patrick hates homework. Patrick is a subject, hates is a verb, and homework is an object. There are other word orders also, like in some of the sentences, you can write a sentence without using a subject also. But those kind of structures we'll be taking up later in our classes. Today we are going to deal only with this simple sentence order where you have a subject, you have a verb, and you have an object. So now you can see on your screen that you have 5 sentences in front of you. It's very easy. You have to read the sentences and identify the basic parts of the sentence, right? So for this, I think you require only 3 to 4 minutes. Okay, so here you go. So let's check our answers. The first sentence is Rahul drives a car. Rahul is the subject, drives verb, a car object. Second sentence, Zoya bakes cakes. Zoya is a subject, bakes verb, cakes object. Third sentence, sun rises in the east. Sun is the subject, rises is the verb, and in the east is the object. Patrick finds words in the dictionary. Patrick is the subject, finds is the verb, words in the dictionary becomes our object. The elf agrees to do his homework. The elf is the subject, agrees is the verb, and to do his homework is the object. So I hope you've all checked your answers. Okay. Now we come to our picture composition, where we have already learnt a sentence construction, right? We have framed the sentences in that same order which we've just learnt, that is the subject, the verb, and the object. Now we come to the picture composition. You can read the sentences here. Anu is celebrating her birthday party. She is cutting the cake. Anu is a subject, is celebrating is a verb, her birthday party is an object, and same way she is a subject, is cutting is the verb, and the cake is the object. Now in these sentences, the difference that you must have noticed is that the verb is in the present participle form, that is, it is in the ing form, right? So here we have used the present continuous tense. See, you didn't know exactly what it is, but still you have managed to frame the sentences correctly, right? Now I'll be telling you what present continuous tense, where do we use the present continuous tense? The present continuous tense is formed from the present tense of verb be and the present participle, that is the ing form of a verb. And where do we use these sentences? Here you can see that Anu is celebrating her birthday. We are talking of an event which is happening at the moment. So that means that we use the present continuous tense to talk about something that is happening at the moment of speaking, or we use it to describe a temporary event or a situation. So here we saw the picture, we saw what was happening, so we were describing an event or a situation we were describing in the picture composition. So in a picture composition, the sentence construction that we keep in mind is that it has to be present in the present continuous tense, and while framing present continuous tense sentences, we always use the present participle form of a verb, that is the ing form of a verb. Is it clear to everybody? So now we'll look at all the sentences that we've seen. Like, see, Anu is celebrating her birthday party. She is cutting the cake. Anu's friends are standing next to her. They are watching a magician. The magician is pulling out a rabbit. A clown is giving balloons to the children. The children are having lots of fun. So now you can see how do we form present continuous in the affirmative sentences. Affirmative sentences means the positive sentences. The subject, first comes the subject. Anu is the subject. Then comes the be form of the verb. Be form of the verb means is, am, or are. In the present, we use is, am, or are. They are the be forms of verbs. Present, then comes the present participle form of verb, which I have already told you, the verb in the ing form, celebrating. And then comes the object, her birthday. Next is she is cutting the cake. She is a subject, Is the be form of verb. Cutting is the present participle of the form of the verb. And the cake is an object. I hope you've understood. So now I'll be repeating these sentences again. Anu is celebrating her birthday. She is cutting the cake. Anu's friends are standing next to her. You must be wondering why are has been used here and not is, because here we are talking about Anu's friends, more than one. When our subject is plural, we will be using are. Is it clear to you? Anu's friends are standing next to her. They. Now the subject is they. They, again plural. So we use are. They are watching a magician. Next sentence, the magician is pulling out a rabbit. Next sentence, a clown is giving balloons to the children. Last, the children are having lots of fun. Children, plural, so we are using are with it. Is it clear to you? Now, let's check some more examples. First sentence is, I am teaching English now. In this sentence, it's clear to you that with I, the be form of verb that we are using is am. So you must have, by now, this must have been very clear to you. You must have understood that with he, she, it and the singular subjects, we use is. With you, they or plural subjects, we use are. And with I, we use am. Is it clear now? So we move ahead. Next sentence is, you are learning English now. You are learning English now. Clear? Next sentence, I am trying to find my dictionary. I am trying to find my dictionary. Rahul is going to school with his sister. He is reading a book at the moment. She is washing her clothes right now. Zoya is feeling much better now. I'm standing. You can see I apostrophe and am written. This is a contraction of I am. I'm standing. We are watching television. We are watching television. You're watching a video right now. Again, this is a contraction of you are. So, I've written in a contracted form where when we read out or when we speak fast. So, it comes, you're watching a video right now. So, now you are quite clear with the be forms of verbs that have to be used with the subjects. And these contractions, why I am not telling you more about them is that we will be taking up these contractions in our coming lessons. And in this lesson, you have learned the picture composition. You have learned how to write the picture composition. And in a picture composition, while we are writing the picture composition, you have to be very clear that when you are writing the picture composition, you have to use these kinds of sentence constructions which we have learned in our lesson now. Clear? So now you will be, the homework that I had given you to write a picture composition. Now what you can do is you can see all those sentences that you have framed. You're going to check them yourself. So this has to be a self-evaluation. You will be checking your work yourself and doing the corrections. But later on, I'm sure you all remember that all these activities which we are doing, all these assignments that you are doing, have to be submitted in the class. So please do keep writing these assignments in the notebooks. I had already told you in the previous lesson that if you do not have the new notebooks, no problem. You can write in the notebooks of your previous class. And if you don't have those notebooks also, please, you can use the lined sheets. You can do on those sheets and then submit to me when you are coming to school. Now, another interesting activity is there in store for you. It's a word attack. You all have a fair idea of the text now. You know the meanings of the words. Now, here, what you have to do is you will be reading the words and the phrases and finding a word which is similar in meaning to these words and phrases from the text. This is not very difficult. In simple words, if we can say, these are the words and the meanings. In the vocabulary, I had given you a word and we wrote the meaning. Here, the meaning is given to you and you have to find a word which means the same. So, here we go. The first is somebody who does not know anything. You have to find the word. Next one is lines or folds in something. You have to find the word which means this. To shout loudly. Next word, everyday routine work. And the last one is to be tired. So to complete this, I am giving you 2 minutes time. Come on, fast. Now that you've completed word attack, it's very easy for you to move on to the next activity, which is a crossword puzzle. And this crossword puzzle is from your textbook. The B part of your text, working with the language. You can see there's a crossword puzzle, and this crossword puzzle has 5 words which have to be filled in across. Across means horizontally, right? If you don't understand what is horizontally, just remember how your teacher taught you the sleeping lines and the standing lines when she taught you how to write. So, the clue is that the sleeping lines are your words which are across, and your standing lines are those words which have to be filled downwards, right? So, in all, you have 8 words. 5 words have to be filled up across and 3 words have to be filled up downwards. This crossword puzzle you're going to complete on your own, as now you know the meanings of the words. You have completed your word attack where you got a clear clue of how you have to complete this crossword puzzle. And before we move on to our crossword puzzle and the other activity of working with the language, let us discuss our answers of the word attack. So the first word, somebody who does not know anything. The word is ignoramus. I'm sure you all knew the word. The second, lines or folds in something. You remember that picture also I showed you in the first lesson? It is wrinkles. The third word, to shout loudly, shriek. Fourth word, everyday routine work, chores. Fifth word, to be tired means weary. So, you can now very well complete your crossword puzzle, which is the B part of your working with language. Now, the A part of your working with the language is fill in the blanks activity. There also you have a box where you have words and phrases which you have to fill up in the fill in the blanks. So this activity also you're going to complete on your own, and both these activities you can complete after the lesson is over. You may treat it as your homework also. Now let us look at the questions from our textbook which are based on writing. A part we have already discussed in our first class, if you remember, where we talked about rhyming words, that the lesson has lots of rhyming words. It's written like a poem, if you remember. And we have also completed an activity which was related to it, where you found the rhyming words. So now we move on to the B part. When we speak, we often leave out words that can be easily guessed, as we can make the other person understand, sometimes with our tone, with our gestures. So that is why we can truncate the words. Truncate means cut the words. We can use only those words which are essential. You can see the sentence, too boring, he said. So by this, we come to know that he is saying that it's too boring. But when we have to write it and make it very clear, and we have to write it very carefully, we would write, homework is too boring, he said. So same way you can see the second sentence where the complete sentence has not been written. It's written, cleaned his room, did his chores. While writing, we'll write, he cleaned his room and did his chores. Know that while speaking, we can omit certain words, we can truncate some certain words, but when we have to write it, we have to write it very carefully so that it is easily understood by the reader, right? So now I have an activity for you. It's the activity from the book itself, where you have to rewrite the sentences carefully so that the reader does not have to guess what is left out. So here we have four sentences which have been given to you, and these four sentences are incomplete. They have been written the way we speak, right? So certain words have been truncated. So now what you have to do is you have to write it completely. You have to write it very carefully so that there nothing is left for the reader to guess, right? So for this, there are four sentences. So I'm giving you 4 minutes to complete it. So let's do it quickly. Another interesting activity for you. It's a cartoon by R.K. Lakshman. Now, many of you must not be knowing who R.K. Lakshman was. R.K. Lakshman was indeed one of the best cartoonists India could ever have. And he is best known for his creation, The Common Man, and for his daily cartoon strip, which used to come in the Times of India. Here in this picture, you can see a father who's turning behind to talk to his child. The child is sitting at the table with a pile of books on the table, and he is a little upset. And read the dialogue underneath. It's written, get on with your homework, the sums, the composition, history, geography, chemistry, physics, and stop reading the laws against child labor. That means the father is telling the son that you first study and stop reading all the laws against child labor. So when you see the picture, what comes to your mind? What is it about? It's about a father scolding his son, right? And then, do you find it funny? Don't you find the cartoon very funny? Yes, the cartoon is funny because here the child, what he's feeling is that when he's been asked to study, he's being made to labor, and he's a child and child labor is abolished, right? So he feels that studying is a sort of labor which he is being asked by his parents to do, right? So this is the fun in the cartoon. And do you find a cartoon a serious drawing? Yes or no? So this is the question which I leave to you. And this cartoon you're going to try and draw if you can. If not, take a picture of this and you stick it in your assignment notebook, and you will give the answer to this question, that do you find a cartoon a serious drawing? Why not? Is it clear? You will be writing the answer in your assignment notebook. On your screen, you can see some cartoons. See those cartoons carefully and decide whether they are just funny or do they have some serious message to give to you. So based on this, you can frame your answer that you have to frame. Now we come to the conclusion of our lesson. And I hope you all have enjoyed and you have learnt a lot from this lesson. Now I have a food for your thought. You will be thinking as to why Patrick got A's in his result, right? So the first incomplete statement here that I have for you is Patrick got A's in his result because. The second one is Patrick needs to help the little man because. The third is the part of the story I liked the most was when. You have to mention here which part of the story did you like the most, which part appealed to you the most, right? Next statement, incomplete statement, is while reading this story, I wondered. Means what did you wonder? What were you thinking while reading this story? The next statement is the little man granted Patrick a wish because. The last one is the little man yelled at Patrick to save him from the cat because. So now it's up to you to decide which 5 incomplete statements you want to complete. So just for an example, for your better understanding, I'm going to complete the first statement for you. The first incomplete statement is Patrick got A's in his result because. So how do we complete it? We'll complete it like this. Patrick got A's in his result because while helping the elf, he was doing all his work. And while he was doing all his work, he had a better understanding. So he managed to do very well in his exams and he got all A grades. So this is how you can complete your statements. So any 5 statements of your choice you can complete, and When we meet after the school reopens, you're all going to submit your assignments to me. So with this, we come to the end of this lesson. I hope you all enjoyed this lesson. So, bye-bye till we meet next for the next lesson. Thank you.